Hello and welcome to another Imperator Rome developer diary. This one's written by Snowcrystal. It's his first one that he's done for Imperator, so I think that makes it Johan, Arheo, Trintragula, and now Snowcrystal. So 4 people who are doing dev diaries. So yeah, it's his first one, so yay. So let's just get into it, shall we? Hello there. Today I have the pleasure of telling you about the Punic missions and give you a deeper look into the mission system. That's what all of us have wanted for a long time. For Carthage, we split up the mission into 2 categories, conquest and infrastructure, for the sake of simplicity. In the conquest-based missions, we've focused on the Punic spheres of influence like Sicily, Africa, Iberia, Rome, and even Phoenicia. Whereas for the infrastructure ones, we've looked at some of their strengths, i.e. their navy and their commerce. It should be noted that most of these missions would be active for any Punic country of some size, not just Carthage themselves. So, I guess the vassals of Carthage, although Punic, does that count like the 3 Phoenicians in the Phrygian sphere of influence? I don't know. So, Aegis of Africa, the conquest. Africa is the heart of the Carthaginian might, with its rich fertile farms and many Punic settlements. At the start you have, God damn it, Snowcrystal, this is your first dev diary and you're already fucking up. Anyway, at the start, you have a lot of small feudatories as well as 2 large tribal vassals in Musalmia and Massilia. Historically, the latter would go on to defect to Rome during the Second Punic War and form a large kingdom threatening their weakened Punic neighbour. So, this is a few of the trees that we have. Now, this is one mission, the Aegis of Africa mission. So we have the Massilian menace, securing the coast of Africa, integrating the Musalmiae, the Wicked Sisters, interesting. The Mutiny of the Berbers, the Massilian Hinterlands, Tale of 4 Cities, and Emporium of Tripoli. No idea what any of those require, but there's the titles of the various parts of the mission. For the mission tasks in this mission, okay, so they're calling them tasks. You'll mainly focus on integrating your many feudatories and put an end to the tribal vassals at your borders. As for your larger feudatories in Emporia and Tripolitania, their integration is set aside as optional mission tasks, giving the player the choice if you want to keep them as feudatories or not. As for the final task, you will be given the choice of 2 permanent bonuses. What are the bonuses? I want to know the bonuses. End to the Sicilian warfare. Sicily was a thorn in the side of Carthage, as the Greco-Punic Wars for the island had already been an ongoing thing for close to 200 years at this point. Just before the start date of Imperator, Agathocles, the Greek tyrant of Syracuse, had brought the war all the way to Africa and ravaged the Punic heartland. It's kind of crazy to think that Syracuse, being like only half of Sicily, managed to get their army over into Carthage. It's kind of crazy, but I guess it happened. So in defense of Akragas, that's the little vassal of Syracuse at the start. Akragas liberated. The Phoenician settlements, Punic Sicania. Sicania is another one on Sicily. Akragas subjugated. Eastern Nemesis and Punic Syracuse. Very nice. The mission task for this mission is focused around completely conquering the island and building up the ancient Phoenician cities on the island. In addition, early on you have a choice if you want to liberate or liberate Akragas. Epicratea, interesting. So after Punic Syracuse, this is, just beneath that goes to Siculian domination. We've got end of an era, local governor, wine and grain, and Syracusan warships. Very nice. In the second half of the mission, we've set aside some optional mission tasks to build some heavy ships and for the player to be able to improve the wine and grain trade goods across the island. When finishing up the mission, you'll be able to focus your efforts on integrating the area or making a feudatory that will put in charge of the island. That would be a bloody big feudatory, for sure. Improve the wine and grain trade goods. How would that work? I'm imagining maybe it's a... It's got to be a modifier on the territory itself. Is it like a commerce increase on the territory that makes wine and grain, maybe? I'm not sure. Anyway, the Iberian struggle. The Phoenicians settled in southern Iberia several centuries before our start date. By the time of the 3rd century BCE, these areas had mostly fallen under Carthaginian influence. The Carthaginians would go on to take control of the rich silver mines of southeastern Iberia, and the Roman occupation of the area played a decisive role in turning the tide of the Second Punic War. So the Iberian struggle, we've got the Biliarides, Slingaport, Iberian riches, mines of Iberia, Contestanian hinterlands, Punic intervention, heirs of Tartessia and Tartessian allies. A lot of these, like Contestani, Tartessia, these are the Baleares, the Balearic Islands, tribes in Iberia and around Iberia. So yeah, you can sort of get an idea for what the missions, or what the tasks, I should say, what they're aiming at, but not really what it wants you to do. For the mission tasks in this mission, you'll be focused on taking control of the silver mines in southeast Iberia, as well as setting up defenses in the nearby area. You'll be able to move down 2 separate routes to either the mission task Hispanic Overlord or Rise of Carthago Nova. Oh wow, you could actually release Carthago Nova now. That's kind of interesting. Form will quell the unrest in the area, and the latter will make a new colonial subject, Carthago Nova, which will gain control over your holdings in Iberia. So yeah, Silverport and New Carthage, that'd be Carthago Nova, protecting the Iberian hinterlands, securing Baetica. Baetica, that rings bells, but I can't quite place it. Rise Carthago Nova, settling Hispania, Hispanic Overlord, and restoring Tartessos. So, something interesting that I want to point out. I can just have this big, there we go. This one here, it's got a red ring around it, and a bunch of like broken marble. What this is if you have gone down a route that makes it so that a task is impossible. So say you've got this or this mission. You can do this one or you can do this one. The one that you don't do will have this kind of graphic. Be red and it'll be broken as all bollocks. So that's what that is. Aftermath of the revolution. During the war with Agathocles, Bomilcar was a leading commander, and some say Safet of Carthage, one of the strongmen in charge of the state, who said he was willing to let the Greeks run wild in the hopes that he could overthrow Carthaginian government and become a tyrant in his own right. Though his coup failed, the Carthaginian state was still shook for a long time by this unbecoming little revolt. So, Agent of the 104. I have no idea what this could be. Power at home, soldier from the revolution. Are we sure that we're playing Imperator at this point? Because this sounds very Cold War, and this sounds very... I mean, I'm just thinking of the song Children of the Revolution. Oligarchic rule, strengthen the system, plutocratic rule, and mercenary patron. I do like the art on these. That's very nice. At the start of the game, you'll be able to pick up the pieces of the failed coup and try to make your own mark on the Carthaginian government. You could either try to ally up with the Council of the 104 and turn the state more oligarchic, find like-minded among those who once took part in the revolution and turn more plutocratic, or strengthen the current system. The old mercenary patron decision has also been implemented as part of this mission and removed as a decision. Now, I haven't played much of Carthage, so I can't recall what that mission actually is, unfortunately. But hey, we can find out, because I've got the game open for the music in the background. So, I'm curious now. Mercenary Patron, what does it do? Of course, I probably should have had this part open, but well, whatever. So, decisions. Mercenary Patron. You lose some money. You get Mercenary Patron till the end of the game, Mercenary Army Maintenance, and Recruit Mercenary Cost. Our history with the local mercenary companies is a long one, where we've often turned to the help to secure our goals, particularly in the many drawn-out wars in Sicily. They have played an essential part in protecting our interests. As we are already close friends with some of the mercenary warlords, we should be able to convince them to settle down in Carthage. With our patronage, the companies will flourish and will secure their loyalty at a cheaper price in future conflicts. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. That's quite flavorful. Lovely. Okay. Back to the Div Diary then. Trade investments. The Phoenicians were known as avid traders throughout most of the antiquity, bringing goods from one end of the Mediterranean to the other, making quite a fortune while doing so. With the rise of Carthage in the west, they became the new overlords of the western trade routes, growing wealthy on the mines of Iberia and Sardinia. Now we have Altar of the Phileni, Cyrene relations, that would probably be Cyrenaica. Another Periplus. That name also brings a bell, but I can't remember. Into the unknown, trade partners of old trade from the east, central Sardinia. I assume this is going to be kill the two little tribes in Sardinia, and then securing the island. Probably the same thing, actually. Who knows? They both seem to do the same thing, but they're obviously not going to be the same thing. Maybe conquer the two little islands, make it your culture, possibly. I don't know. The trade investments mission is fairly split up, with a lot of optional tasks you can choose to do. You can also choose to build up your riches in Sardinia, set up another journey to the borders of Africa, or settle the Libyan desert. The main mission tasks include improving trade relations with Egypt or the Seleucids, and to improve the city of Carthage. I guess it'll all depend on who wins the wars to come, because Seleucids, you don't start being able to border, they're too far away. So if the Seleucids take Syria from Phrygia, then maybe the Seleucids would be better. Seleucids are always a really good trading partner. But yeah, naval supremacy. The Phoenicians, and later on their Punic descendants, grew a certain reputation for dominating naval warfare. Unfounded or not, it's clear they had a lot of expertise at sea after setting up trade routes across all of the Mediterranean. So, expanding the Kothon, that's their sexy port in Carthage, isn't it? Pretty sure. Naval experimentation, controlling the seas, northern port, ports of Africa, and a focus for the future. Lovely. The mission will focus on improving your navies, dominating the ports in Africa, and expanding Kothon in Carthage. The old decision has been removed. Aha! Back to the game. Alright, so... is it this one? I don't see anything else that says Kothon, so... Kadorhasht Military Harbour. Lose some money, lose some manpower, and you get ship recruit speed, import routes, starting experience. Carthaginian harbour has always been one of the greatest in the Punic world, but as our empire has grown along with the city itself, a need has been born for a restructured and reimagined harbour. We must spare no expense and expand the capabilities of our capital as a naval base and a shipbuilding centre. You know what I would actually love, right? If, when you take this mission in the new patch, you would get a new graphic for your port that would actually look like, you know, the port that we all can recognize. Like, that would be really, really nice. Where am I? There it is. An optional task will let you try to buy a port in Gaul, but if you want to start looking that way, one of the benefits of the mission is you can set a focus for all your ports in Africa, giving them a permanent military, commerce, or assimilation bonus. Well, I know which one I'm gonna go with. There's also an optional task to set up relations with your Phoenician ancestors to gain access to the great cedars of Phoenicia to improve your ships. And then enter Magna Gratia's conquest. Magna Gracia was a patchwork of alliances, wars, and treaties between the Greek settlers, the locals, and the Italics coming down from the north. Though we never saw the Punics ever enter Magna Gracia with the exception of Hannibal's campaigns, it made sense to give them a mission in the area if they were to take control of Sicily. So taking Calabria, Lucania, Tarentine cavalry, ports of Magna Gracia, local Punic center, and trade traditions. And then entering Magna Gracia itself. Oh no, it's just expanded down. Conquering Tarentum, Punic, Pompeii, Magna Punica. I like that. Old Treaty and Local Alliance. Nice. And some of these might as well be... you take this one, you can't take this one. Mutually exclusive. Mutually exclusive. That's it. I got it. Nailed it. So yeah, maybe you can only take one of these three, and if you take this one, those two will be broken. That kind of thing. There's a bunch of that in the missions, apparently. For the Magna Gracia mission, you have the optional path all the way to the left, where you can choose to take a more hands-on approach, whereas for the rest of the missions, you could mostly do with increasing relations with the major port owners in the area, and take specific cities. For the final missions, you can choose if you want to focus on approaching the Greeks, the Italics, or simply focus on your own territories in the area. And then finally, end the Roman wolf. Though Carthage and Rome were on friendly terms before the First Punic War, yeah, they both fought against the Sicilians. They ended up as the two major players in the Western Mediterranean. As neither was willing to back down, they would eventually end up confronting one another. After 3 long, brutal wars, Rome was the only power left standing. So we've got Mare Punicum, naval decisiveness, Duel of the West, southern approach, and northern approach. Southern approach is probably going to be coming up from Magna Gracia. Northern approach is crossing the Alps with a bunch of elephants and ending up on the other side with only one. After you start the mission to beat Rome, you will be given a main path to follow as well as an optional path. The optional path on the left will be based around beating the Roman navy, potentially giving you access to the Rome-exclusive Corvus invention. Oh, now that is interesting. For the main path, you'll be able to decide if you want to try and enter Italy from the north through Cisalpine Gaul or through the Magna Gracia in the south. No, I'm just gonna go back up here. The Corvus invention, that was me. So when they were doing country-specific inventions, I recommended that they added one for Rome for the Corvus, which would give ship capture chance, and yeah, it was added pretty much exactly as I recommended it. And so yeah, this is my invention. I mean, it's pretty obvious ones, but still, I thought of it. Yeah, for the main path, you'll be able to decide if you want to enter Italy from the north through Cisalpine Gaul or through Magna Gracia in the south. We've got Roman inventions, freedom to Magna Gracia, an end to Roman arrogance. God Lord, yes. Freedom to Gaul, Roman blood, and Roman marble. I imagine these are going to be mutually exclusive as well. And then the Eternal City, Roman subjugation, Punic Latium, salt and burn, of course, Roma delenda est, and Carthaginian Ostia. So yeah, as you can see, he's taken salt and burn, so if you salt and burn Rome, you can't subjugate him, or I guess conquer intact. In either case, you'll be able to release cities in the area you focus on to fight Rome as well, and after you've finally subjugated or conquered Rome, you'll be able to do with it as you see fit. And yeah, this dev diary is not over yet, because it's a bloody long one. Liberating Phoenicia. The Phoenicians played an important role in bringing trade, inventions, and ideas across the Mediterranean, as well as settling colonies all across the southern and western parts of it. But in spite of this, they were rarely independent and often had to pay tribute to one overlord or the other. If Carthage were to grow into a strong empire of their own, they might be able to return to their ancient homeland and liberate it from foreign forces. I'd love to see that. So Copper Emporium, Cedar Empire, because the cedar is the wood that was used for the boats and it was really good. Assembling Phoenicia, and then we can liberate it or have a hegemony over it. Then experience shipwrights. I assume these ones are also mutually exclusive. For the mission, there is an optional path for taking and improving Cyprus to become a copper trade hub, whereas the main path will focus on retaking core Phoenician lands and the great cedar trees situated across Phoenicia. At the end of it, you'll be able to release Phoenicia as a feudatory or take control of the area as a hegemon of the Phoenician cities. Copper. What does Cyprus have right now as trade goods? I guess base metals, copper does count as a base metal. It looks like that one there is copper. So yeah, I guess it makes sense. There's a lot of four units of base metals in there. Fair enough. But still, to very, very specifically single out copper is a bit interesting. After the Carthaginian conquest and subjugation of the Iberian tribes, a strong faction grew up around the city that would later be known as Carthago Nova. Particularly, Hamilcar Barca and his sons took control of Iberia and made it their power base, though would later go on to attack Rome itself. So we've got the Mines of Mastiana, Iberian Havens, Riches of Iberia, Barcan Governorship, and Loyal Iberia. It'll be interesting because these tasks are they're not just set in place, they are dynamic in a way. So I'm wondering if the Barkids die out before you manage to take this, is this going to just disappear or be replaced by something? I'm not sure. If you finish up the Iberian struggle mission, you'll be potentially given the option of building up the infrastructure of Iberia to secure the wealthy lands. The mission is based around the Barkid's family rise to fame, and you'll see Hamilcar's sons play an important role in it. Hope you enjoyed this little preview. It's not little, mate. No, that was not little. Into the Carthaginian missions. Next week, we will take a look at the savages in Rome and what kind of missions they'll be getting. Alright, so we know what kind of person Snow Crystal is. He's a Carthaginian fanboy. Tisk tisk. Anyway, that was a stonker of a mission tree dev diary. That was huge. So yeah, I would love to know your thoughts. For me, I think I'm really excited to try the missions. We'll see what it's like when you do multiple playthroughs, but I've been assured that it's a really powerful system, and it's not just every time you play it, you get the same missions and the same tasks, like verbatim. For certain countries like Carthage, there will be certain like set in stone missions, but it's not going to be like that for everyone. And they're still going to have really good mission trees and stuff, so we'll see what it's like. I'm excited to get my hands on it and give it a try. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. I do hope they get some more marble art, because I love this, but I don't want to see like the exact same one next to each other. Like if they have everyone unique, that's a huge, colossal amount of work. But it'd still be awesome, right? It would be really cool. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this Dev Diary video. If you want to keep up to date with Imperator Rome news, then this is the channel to follow. So click the buttons and the subscribes and all that good stuff. So you'll be notified of like new Imperator Rome news, because it's kind of what I do here. So thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.